All right, hey, welcome. Dr. Josh Wagner, creator of Patient Mastery, with Dr. Michael Singleton, who's over in Cape Cod area of Massachusetts. And we're going to have an awesome conversation where you're able to have a peek over the shoulder, peek behind the curtain, bird's eye view of a Chiro in practice. Michael, how many years?
25 now.
25. So obviously a seasoned veteran sharing their story of what's working now, what hasn't worked, so you can take the gold and apply it as best as possible into your practice and make sure you're not hitting your head against the wall like Michael has been in the past, and so many chiropractors have. And I definitely was when I first started trying to, make myself or my practice, a round peg fit into a square hole, which I notice a lot of docs around the country doing now is hey, this worked in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s doesn't mean it works now. Just because someone shares it on stage or on YouTube doesn't mean it works for you. And making sure you're doing a combination of what works today with what's aligned with your philosophy and personality and overall energy. So I'm going to let Michael introduce himself and start off just with basics of, hey, what got you into chiropractic?
Yeah, sure. So like a lot of us, I got injured. I was 9 years old and I was in the bottom of a pig pile in a soccer match. So my mom took me to the chiropractor instead of a doctor. And I remember the words he said perfectly is, "I'm going to make popcorn come out of your neck." And that was it. And I was like back playing soccer that day. And then by age 13, I knew that's what I wanted to do. It was like he had helped me through a myriad of other injuries and stuff. So, and didn't turn my head. I kept going. So, yeah. So I went to New York Chiropractic School, graduated, kind of set the world on fire, and actually came right back to Cape Cod where I all started. And I actually took over my original chiropractor's practice for him. So at this point, he was one of the first 100 chiropractors in Massachusetts.
Wow.
So he was old school. Yeah. It was the flying seven all the way, and that's all you got. And it was a blessing and a curse, honestly. A 40-plus-year-old practice I walked right into with thousands of patients, but he didn't do care plans. He didn't take appointments. It was come as you go, and the inmates ran the asylum, so to speak. So that was my indoctrination into chiropractic.
And Mike, I'll say one thing because there's not one way it works. So, for instance, that may have worked for him, it may not have, I don't know, but 40 years in practice, he was staying in it.
Yep.
So, there's some docs who could do no schedules, no care plans, and it works.
Yeah.
But there's probably a lot more that do it and they're banging their head against the wall, stuck
Yeah.
under 15,000 a month collections and
Yep.
don't know what's wrong. So, getting back to this understanding of just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it works for you. And if what you're doing isn't working and it's been years, it's time to shift to do something new. And it doesn't mean you have to abandon your philosophy, add services that you don't believe in. We're not talking about those shifts that change your identity. We're talking about how to run a business better.
Yep.
So, um, all right, let's continue on with the story. Took over 40-year practice, blessing and a curse.
Yep.
You mentioned some of the curses of like there was no scheduling patients or no care plans.
Yeah. I had no guidance really. It was I worked hard and I got up to like that 15,000 a month, thought I was on top of the world, and I worked harder and it just never really budged for decades.
And give examples when you say worked harder, like was it putting more hours in the
Yeah.
week? Was it doing screenings and talks? What are the things that you tried that just weren't moving the needle for you?
Yeah, when I exactly that. I added later hours, I added Saturdays, I worked weekends, I did pretty much everything. And it just didn't seem like the needle would budge. It was like no matter how hard I tried, it would just get stuck. And so my next was I'll get more letters after my name. So
Mm.
I went and got as many alphabet after my name as possible, figuring that would help out. And you know what? Nothing changed from that. Then I had the shiny syndrome where I try to buy everything I could.
Like
And
like the
I'm like Batman. I've got every toy you can have.
like modalities, you
And
mean?
modalities, yeah, exactly. And they didn't, again, it was nice to have, but it didn't change. Uh, So I ran pretty much at a really quick growth and I kind of stayed plateau. And no matter what I did, I felt like I was working harder and going backwards.
Got it. And how many years was that for?
I would say 18, 20 years,
Yeah. And
almost
by the way,
until COVID hit, basically.
like that's super common for the chiropractic field. I think part of it is because we're rebels and we're renegades, like we go
Yeah,
against the stream,
yeah, I
but
got this.
that makes us stubborn. And
Yeah,
so, and I fall into the same trap of like I'm a creature of habit, and I'll keep doing the same thing until like it's I get hit upside the head by someone else, or it's just like finally this isn't working. So I share that with you, like that's super common with chiropractors because we're so rebellious and stubborn.
yeah.
So what changed in COVID?
COVID, I lost all my staff, which again was a
They,
blessing and a curse. I said I had a
they all
staff.
died.
Yeah, I said
No,
I had a staff
I was kidding.
infection.
I was kidding. I said they all died.
Oh no, 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 no. No, they decided it was more profitable to go to the beach and get paid than it was to come to work.
Mm.
Uh so I ran the ship by myself and I did that for about a year and a half. And then I one night popped on a phone call. It was one of yours that you were doing.
Do you mean like almost like some type of teaching webinar
Yeah, it
interview?
was. Yeah, it was you were talking with another group. I think it was Chad Woolner's group.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yep.
Do you remember? I'm
And
curious. Do you remember? Because I did a lot of talks for that group. Do you remember what specific like teacher strategy it was?
it was the one on communication and getting to the person's why, how to connect with them,
Okay,
and how to be confident in that delivery.
nice.
And it was nothing I had. It was like that was enough for me to go get off and like start pecking around on your website. And that's pretty quickly after that, I talked to your group.
So what 18 years stuck, hitting your head against the wall, buying a bunch of toys and which are modalities, getting more credentials after your name, probably trying a bunch of marketing stuff or not, but it's
Yep.
very common. Um, what let's now get into like I think we shared maybe three paradigm shifts or strategies that have really moved the needle for you.
Yeah.
What's the first one?
The first one was getting back, and it was really quickly how many holes in my bucket I had that I realized. And with all the stress and working, I didn't take care of myself. I was burnt out, and I really focused on getting myself better, my morning plan, and reading and exercising and getting my health back to where it needed to be. Um, and that was what helped me to feel more confident in leading a team again.
Nice. So more like how you start your morning
Yeah,
specifically, and how you start your morning is absolutely how the day goes. Could we just flash forward, I guess 2020, 2021, you first started and one of the first things you're confronted with was, hey, let's say your health and your schedule and your energy. I know this past summer, and I know this is like, okay, 3, 4 years later, but could you share what your summer schedule was from the standpoint of like giving yourself that energy and family time and health and fun?
sure, sure. Yeah. So I punched out. I took every Friday off, so I had a 3-day weekend every weekend, and spent the weekend in a camper on the beach with my son surfing, and
And this is
recharged
this
and
is summer.
regrouped and got to know. Yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
Very cool. So now let's get back to starting a morning routine. Are there things you'd like to share about the morning routine that make a difference, or any other aspects of how you started shifting energy and health to be a better
Yeah,
fit?
it's and I don't think any particular one thing is the magic sauce here. It's being consistent. It's I in way before the 5 a.m. club, that book came out, I was always a 5 a.m. guy being a surfer. It was the magic hour. You get up in the morning, it was just quiet, and I would always get up and read. So I started reading again. And I would get up and then write down my big tasks and then meditate. And it was just getting grounded and centered, and it set the day in a different trajectory instead of worrying what's going to go wrong. And it was like more like, all right, cool, let's own this.
Exactly. I love it. Nothing more significant in the entire day than your morning. There's not one right morning routine. There's just, do you have something that works? It should evolve over time because that's growth. Uh, my morning routine is meditation, there's reading, there's quick exercise. Uh, it used to be walking. Now that I'm back in the Northeast, not always.
Sure.
With the weather, there's quick gratitude writing. There's looking at my goals, vision, purpose. It only takes a minute, uh, and that's pretty much all before I open myself up to the world.
Yep.
Meaning, my phone goes on. I look at anything like email or social or news or any of that stuff, and that combo is always slightly changing. But man, the first hour, 90 minutes of my day, that's mine. It is precious. And it does set the tone for your day and your future. And I'm not talking to you, Mike, I'm talking to everyone, whether it's your goal a year from now or 5 years. It literally is just accumulation of day after day after day after day. So if you're not making each day worthwhile and quality, it doesn't matter your big, hairy, audacious goal. It doesn't matter your vision board. It doesn't matter, what you write down and look at. It comes down to how you live every day. And so that's a huge one, Michael.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of your morning routine?
The favorite part would be, great question. Um, it's the morning movement, 10 minutes to get my body moving. It's, yeah, being over 50 now, it's just, I'm going to keep it going. As I say, I'm going to do the things this decade that you won't. So next decade I can, that you can't. So
I like it. You've probably seen in the group Vince Bauer, who I think is going to be speaking next month. In his 50s, he started ultra marathons. In his
yeah,
50s, and when he was in his 20s, he didn't run at all.
yeah,
That's
amazing.
incredible. Yeah. Okay, continuing on. Besides morning routine, anything else, whether it's schedule, energy, things that have helped shift just energy up, more leadership?
Sure, sure. I did get a team, more staff back, which was nice. So the biggest other thing is like now with that organization is basically having ability to lead my team, where again I didn't have the confidence, and so we've doubled down on getting everyone on the same page. Just starting that routine and knowing that I'm not lifting every piano by myself, being able to hand it off to them, hand that weight off. So now, like anyone who walks in the office, you can pay to any patient and ask any staff member, they know exactly why that patient's in our office, what their goals are. So we've really come unified on how to help them, whoever's working with them, get to their goal.
Nice. Can you share what your kind of team meeting communication cadence looks like on a weekly basis? And
Yeah.
was that present pre-COVID?
No, no, it was not at all. I mean, it was occasionally like it was when something was going wrong, we do something. But now it's a 5 minute pre-shift huddle. We get together, discuss anything that might be a problem or a bottleneck. Once a week, we do a team meeting where we go over the week as far as our goals, and then each area of the office, I do team training. So front desk or our trainers or our CAs, we get together and try to role play or drill on how to do our task better.
Good. Amazing. Like you're right there in the 5% of all chiropractors for just doing those three things: pre-shift huddle, weekly overall meeting, weekly training. And it's showing in organization and growth. And what popped into my head while you were sharing that, because like none of this is profound, tough, expensive. And I've been on a Jim Rohn kick of listening to audio, and for the first time in my life, starting a couple months ago. And one of the things that he says over and over again that is so powerful is this understanding about the steps and the habits for success are easy. They're easy, 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 but they're just as easy not to do. And doing a pre-shift huddle for 5 minutes is easy, but you know what? It's also easy staying stuck on social media or looking at emails or finishing a note. Same with a weekly meeting, especially when you just have an outline. Talk about these topics. So I'm glad you're sharing that, because it's one thing to say, oh, you had to hire 2 associates, duplicate a practice, learn advertising by yourself, get a new credential that took you 6 months or 2 years, rather than the foundations that work when you tweak them to what works today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'll let you keep going.
And then the only other thing that I've really has been, I simplified everything. I tried to, it's good, everything, and by simplifying, it's become easier to practice, and I'm leading everything with way more confidence,
Give an
which is
example of like what's been simplified, some scenarios.
getting patients through the office. It seemed like I was almost like I was trying to make it so complicated so it would be a big thing. And I realized like, man, I am really putting boulders in my way to help patients. So how patients call the office, how patients get to see me, get through the exam, how we discuss their care plans. It was just streamlining and really realizing that this is a lot easier to do.
I equate that to, there's so many chiropractors paperwork I look at, whether it's new patient paperwork or the financial and care plans, and it literally feels like I'm applying for a mortgage, uh, or a timeshare, or yeah, like something crazy, which the culture we've shifted into. Like, hey, what worked in the 80s and 90s might have been the 4-day dog and pony show, to get a new patient to pay you. Now, think of whether it's Uber or you want a pizza and in 7 seconds you could order one on your phone. Like, people are just looking for straightforward, not a long-term process. And the long-term process doesn't build the value anymore. It frustrates people, and it has them, if anything, think, where else should I go because this is taking so long? Um, so I love how you're saying that. And what we show in patient mastery is, hey, if a 5-year-old can't understand your recommendations or your fees, and that's with like you've got insurance and cash and it's mixed, and I get there's a lot of potential hairy numbers, but if a 5-year-old can't understand it, your 40-year-old, 50-year-old patient won't be able to explain it to their spouse, or feel comfortable with it themselves. So just having such a streamlined, one page, professional looking, to the point, and all related to getting their life back rather than getting something fixed, or this is how much all the modalities cost, or of course, no like fear tactics or anything like that. It's what society is craving now. And as chiropractors, we're so good at making things more complicated than they need to be. Um, yeah. So thank you for sharing the simplicity aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being at a practice management seminar in grad school, and good guy, going through like just the day one, and he had like this 47-step checklist of like every point that the patient would experience and what the CA needs to do or the doctor. And it was all good and right, but also super overwhelming. And it doesn't need to be. Yeah. Like people, I give this example, people would pay you twice as much for your care plan if it was half as long with half as many visits. And most chiropractors, it blows their mind. They're like, wait, no, what? Then they're paying twice as much per visit. It's like, no, they want to get back to their life. And if you could do it in 6 weeks rather than 12, that's more valuable.
I know you used the analogy of the orthodontist, and shortly after that, my kid went to get braces. And I walked in, he goes, here's the care plan. Do you want Invisalign or do you want metal braces?
Right.
Here's the
And
price.
right. And did he go over how many re-exams you're going to have during that
Nope.
18 months or 2 years? No. And
Nope.
you didn't ask, you didn't care.
Nope. He said, yeah, but you at the
Right.
end of this, you have straight teeth.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did
That's what we
did he
went
go?
for.
Yeah. Did he go over how many tightenings there would be in the 2-year protocol or 18 months? No. And you didn't care. Um, but did he probably build trust, build confidence in you, show leadership, show the expectation of this is what you're going to get, and it's so much more worth what you're going to pay,
Yep.
even if it's expensive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was $10,000 in 15 minutes. Here's your
So
kid's teeth.
that's the going rate for braces nowadays.
It was what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, here's your kid's teeth now. This is what they're going to look like. Which do you want? And I go, I'll go with that one. Thanks. He goes, all right, you can pay at the front door. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And just taking it to like, do you want your kid to have dates when they're in high school or not?
Right.
So, yeah. Um, okay, good. So simplicity. That's that one.
Yeah.
Um, I'll let you keep going. What's another strategy or paradigm shift that's made a significant difference for you?
You know, and I would say it's like kind of like a sum of everything that when I started working myself, I got more confidence. The more confidence I had, I led my team better. The better my team was, the more I was able to help patients. It was the big thing was not getting in my own way, which I realized was the original problem for the 18 years. I had written myself my own limiting beliefs. So I was able to basically rewrite myself what's possible.
Go a little deeper because it's really significant, but it's like first layer of the onion. Are you referring to deserving belief stuff or something else in the realm of confidence and certainty and leadership?
Yeah, I would say, and again, we talk about the deserving belief, and it's like it was a lot of like, not say deep-seated things, but I realized that this was built on even before the chiropractor, before his payment things. It was built in my dad saying, hey, work hard, keep your head down. I was like, I kept doing what I think the teachers, preachers, your parents say, and I realized that even though they wanted them well, it just was a huge, huge boulder I was carrying around, which wasn't working. And getting through and realizing that this is a possible thing that we can change.
And possible meaning like practice could be, let's say, easier or the
Yes.
income could be there.
Yeah.
What other things when it comes to shifting what's possible? Like what other aspects?
So, and it bleeds over into my family life. Like, all that stress from practice was not doing wonderful things for my marriage or my family life, and that's all gone.
Mm,
So, it's nice not waking up in the morning thinking, that's like, do I have enough money in the account?
mm.
That sweats that are gone. It's just you wake up and it's like, this is going to happen. I've seen where I am at, and we've built a process where I'm going, and it's not like a hope and a dream. It's just each step I'm climbing through this.
I love this because, hey, there's the only reason I could speak about deserving belief is because I've experienced not having it. And if you're a human, there are areas, whether it's health, relationships, money, peace of mind, where there's inherent undeserving beliefs. And it could be as deep as it's just genetically in you from generations of it in your family. More likely, growing up before 7 years old, what do you hear your parents saying when it came to money or health or relationships or peace of mind? Um, then, and most chiropractors grew up in middle or below socioeconomic status, where the money conversation is usually disempowering. Then fast forward to chiropractic school, and you've got my experience, 40 different professors all saying different things, all disagreeing with each other. Doesn't feel great for like credibility, leadership. You've got insurance companies treating you worse than, a murderer. You've got the medical profession not believing in you, trusting you, or referring to you easily and graciously. And it's really easy as a chiropractor to inherit inherent undeserving beliefs. For practice could be easy, new patient generation could be easy, getting paid could be easy, generating income, money, and wealth could be easy. Like we are not wired for that. And our profession, whether it's the infighting or outside professions not respecting us, we are not wired for that. So if you keep doing the same thing and keep getting the same results, like you chose, hey, to go inward and do some work on it, just like I have. And that's something I'm really proud of introducing that inside of patient mastery, not just this concept and what you could do to fix it, but like actually, like with Jamie, or just having like one-to-one help getting to the root cause of undeserving beliefs and getting over them and strengthening them. Like one, I don't know if it's always been like this, but Michael, I know like you don't do any marketing and you get as many new patients as you can handle or want a
Yep.
month.
And that hasn't always been that way. It's been over the last 2 years that, and I want to say it's a lot of coming from our new consult that we do. I
Mm.
have a patient coming in, and all of a sudden I'm referring my husband, my cousin, my sister, my neighbor in, and it's like
And how many times did you ask for a referral in the consult?
zero.
Zero.
Sure.
And did they have a miracle case on day one, like a miracle of recovery?
No,
Right.
no.
And so that's another aspect of simplicity of, society today. People like to share what's unique and what's working, and where there's like real awesome connection, because it's so rare with whether it's technology or AI. It's like, hey, there's less and less connection between people. And so when they experience a doctor listening to them and asking certain questions and showing them that they listen, showing them that they care, showing them that they want what they want, that doesn't happen. And not just in Chiro, definitely not medicine. Um, so it's normal that people talk about you just after that consult, and that's even before they start getting better.
And I hear that all the time. Like, I got more out of today than I've had any of the other 10 doctors I've seen on this. And I'm like, okay, let's get to work.
Yeah. uh, so that's exciting. By the way, were you on one of the recent calls of the technology we're giving to members to audio record your consult or Rex, and then it grades you and gives you feedback?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
Yeah. Just text the team and they'll get you set up with an account, and literally just from your phone or an iPad. Patient doesn't even have to know, just audio, not video, and it's based on our consult and Rex. And then you plug in, did the patient start or not, and it gets it unique for you, like what's working, what's not, and just gives you a great synopsis of what pieces could have been better. Yeah, and not saying you need it, but all tools are awesome.
We can always be better.
Yeah. Uh, Anything else you want to talk? We went from deserving belief to consult really quickly.
Yeah. The only other thing that, is interesting, I live on an island. And yeah, there's probably 100 chiropractors around within 20 miles, and I know who they are, but other than talking to them at the coffee shop, there's no conversations, no help. And I really feel like I live on an island. I was coming home from our last meeting, and it was amazing how I know I can pick up a phone
Mm.
anytime right now, and I'll have 15 people help me if I had a question. It's amazing the family that has been built within that that's given me a lot of the confidence that I know I can achieve what I want.
Could you speak, I don't know, speak a little more, like more tangibles or
Yeah, yeah. My wife's a big Italian family, and the joke is when we leave a party, it takes like 2 hours to
say goodbye?
yeah, say
Yeah.
goodbye. And I was just a couple weeks ago at a conference, and I got to catch a plane at 9. I had to start this. It was hugs and thanks and text messages. It was like, and not only that, weeks later, other tribe members asking me about the conversations. It wasn't just like small talk around the water bubbler. It was like, how was that? Was having that accountability is huge.
And how about being, and I'm saying this from experience of having been to many seminars throughout my life, um, being in an environment where you feed off of others' energy, you feed off of, oh, those, someone's doing bigger things than me, I can learn from them. And there's no like hierarchy or like, oh, I can't sit next to that person at lunch, or I can't tap
Yeah.
them on the shoulder and ask a question, because I find that's so incredibly valuable, but rare.
It so is rare. Yeah. Usually, go someplace with like two or three the doctors that you just like, oh, who are they? And you sit in the back. That's not. It's amazing like how many, and I felt that way originally, how many docs would come up and say, hey, and introduce and actually have meaningful conversations, which was it's like I'm like, that's unheard of.
Yeah. You know, while you were sharing this, it just made me think of that awesome video that we made a month ago, the 2-minute video from Mastermind at the property. I think I'm just going to play it because it's like you experience it, and you might get to
Sure.
see
You might see this guy.
Mike's face in the video. So I'm just going to share my screen for a second, and let me know that you can hear it when I play. For the last couple of days, we got Mastermind together at my place, and it's been incredible. You can learn online, you can learn through Zoom, but real quality connection, it's rare and it's necessary, especially for high achievers. It is a great tribe. These people here want us all to succeed. There's no egos. Everybody's here for our support.
There's a lot of doctors and a lot of people in this community that help drive you and push you forward. There's so much information and gold nuggets that we get from everything we learn here that you can take not only into your professional life, but your personal life as well.
Just hanging out and talking to like-minded chiropractors, their ideas give me fuel for when every time I come to one of these, the next week I thrive and my team thrives. It's just amazing energy. It's more authentic.
There you are.
Just really, truly want to see you succeed.
Having like-minded colleagues who get you, who understand what you're going through at your level or above, you need a group like that. What I love about this group is you've got people who are going to high-five you when you're winning and things are going well, and when things get tough, we'll fly across the country to be in your city and help you out. We all kind of get in our own island, and here we get to connect with each other to bring up and work through the real challenges that we're facing.
When you have a team of other chiropractors that you're able to work with, it really expands your ideas, your knowledge, and bounce things off people. It really allows us all to expand our horizon.
You just get ideas and see what other people are doing and get that camaraderie and the support and people telling you, hey, you can do this, no problem, and kind of pushing you along in a good way.
My mentor says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. If you want to go fast and far, go with kindred spirits. And that's exactly what's created in Mastermind, that you have constant connection throughout the year, in person and online, to go farthest, fastest together.
Cool. Thanks for taking time to watch that. I enjoy it. Continuing on that, it's so common for chiropractors to be on their own island, and okay, maybe they go to the state convention seminar once a year. Maybe something comes to town and they check it out, but it's like quick flashes in the pan. In those 18 years that you were like stuck, were you pretty much on your own island the whole time? Did you go to the occasional seminar? Like what was that like?
It was interesting. I was actually a seminar junkie. I couldn't get enough of them.
Like seminar junkie, but not like community tribe.
No, it was like how many facts could I put in my head? How much neurology? How much orthopedic? How much? And it was a lot of techniques, but there was no way of actually taking that and using it. It was like the Monday morning, you could have 10,000 research articles, and Monday morning, you're like, what do I do with this?
Right.
It just didn't show any growth.
And you don't have the person who you can text and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Could we get on a phone call this week? Let alone just the ongoing connection and relationship. So,
last night I was on a call, and literally I had all week long, and literally in 30 seconds it was answered. I'm like, oh, that's easy. It was just
with who?
Christian.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, we're going quickly through different things. Was there anything else on your list that you want to share in terms of most important paradigm shifts or strategies?
There's nothing sexy. It's just consistency. Consistently doing the right thing. Like you said, it's easy not to do the meeting. It's easy to do the meeting. It's just consistently doing the right thing over and over again. And it just snowballs.
And it's easy to keep doing the same thing over and over again, even when it's not working, as long as you're surviving.
Right.
And that's where so much of the profession gets stuck.
And I would say I'm a good chiropractor. And being a good chiropractor didn't do any growth. It was a very small shift to become a great chiropractor. And I'd say that because I'm able to now walk my patients to their goals instead of just treating the back pain. It's like we have so many more transformations now.
Speak to that a bit.
Yeah. So, it's easy. It was easy for me to treat a back pain, give an exercise, do a laser, and it was fine, but not fulfilling. And patients wouldn't get to the goal. They would stop. And now all of a sudden if it's like, grandma wants to continue taking care of her grandkids and stay in the garden, I mean, I get so much more filling my cup up when she's giving me high fives in the hallway because she's carrying a kettlebell down the hall. It's like there's way more of that, and there's way more just the mood in the office is completely changed. It's people getting to their goals, which is so much more fun to achieve.
Perfect. I love you said that. And you're finding that out in the consult, and it's not manipulation, it's genuine caring. People will pay way more for I know it's a buzzword, but getting their life back. But that's what it is for that grandmother. Gardening and being able to play with their grandchildren without being in pain, that's getting your life back. We're not talking about someone on, hospice. This is where the 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 money comes in so strong with patient mastery, without having to feel like a salesperson, without having to say, we'll take off 40% if you sign on the bottom line today. You'll learn that in other places, without having to make a mountain out of a molehill. The whole, yeah, I get a headache a week, and then like dropping your jaw. You get 52 headaches a year. That is awful. Like, is that really why you became a chiropractor, to scare people? Um, when you shift it from people aren't paying you for your care, I don't care how great of a chiropractor you are, you should be the best you can be. They're not paying you for the modalities, they're not paying you for your care. If they are, they're just going to go to the cheapest person or the person who gives less visits. But when you shift the conversation to paying for their real goals, the first level of the goal is get in a pain, health condition. The next level goal is what's the difference that make in their life? Next level is like, what can they do now that they've never been able to do before? And when you get to those deeper levels, one, it can't be scripted. Two, it's inspiring for you to have those conversations and for them. And three, it's a lot easier for people to pay, especially when they hoped or thought insurance would cover everything. And that's more and more rarely the case. It's just so much easier for them to not have to consult with their spouse, to not have to sit through a 60-minute ROF. And to be inspired to pay, rather than it feeling like, in other coaching groups I've been in before I even graduated school, almost like a lesser of two evils. It's like, oh, I can continue suffering for this, or I can hopefully get better but suffer with less money in the bank, like that kind of a decision,
Right.
which isn't fun. And that's such an important paradigm shift that our profession hasn't made the leap in terms of realizing that's what you're giving people. And that's chiropractic, like removing interference to the flow of life. Okay, that's physiologically, but on the whole aspect, that's what we're giving people care-wise and life-wise. So don't limit it to a condition or a subluxation or your special laser or your shockwave. Like, hey, use those, but the second you start making it about that, the person's going to say, oh, well, you charge 125 for shockwave. I can go get it for 75 somewhere else. You charge 100 for a laser session. I can get a 12 pack for 60 each somewhere. That's all you're self-sabotaging immediately when you charge. And I don't mean you can't have actual prices for visits and modalities, but it's the communication and it's the tone and it's the whole energy around it. Is someone is investing in getting their life back through a super simply explained protocol, rather than someone is paying this amount for all of these different things added up. Because the second you start adding them all up, their mind is going to, where can I probably go to a provider where I can get this done sooner with less visits and less cost? And so I hope those of you who are hearing this are realizing, which bucket am I falling into? And if you're struggling with getting patients to pay out of pocket, refer, follow your recommendations, you're most likely still in the old paradigm of thinking adding more stuff, more visits, and more time is what builds value. And it's actually the opposite. The value is asking the right questions, repurposing it in the recommendations. You can charge whatever you want as long as you're getting that person back, because I guarantee what you're going to charge is nowhere near as valuable as them getting back to their life. And that's where the conversation has to be. And you could do that. Total professionalism, total honesty, total ethical congruency. Yeah. And this has nothing to do with changing your technique or adding services or anything like that. All right, Mike, I think we should finish up in a couple of minutes. Anything else you want to leave with?
Man,
Or if anyone has a question, you could throw it in the chat, unmute
yeah,
yourself and scream. But let's talk about what's next. What's the next thing you're working on strategy?
sure. Yeah. So since we've seen some significant growth, we're actually on track to double our practice, which is, I can say that awesomely. But now we've created more problems, so we're hiring some more staff.
Cool.
Yeah, which is good. So we're in the process of that, and the goal for next year is hopefully a second Chiro, an associate.
Awesome. Exciting.
Yeah.
Opportunity, challenge, vision,
Yep.
all part of the puzzle. All right, last chance. If anyone has a question for Michael or me or anything, you can drop it in the chat. You can unmute yourself and just ask. Otherwise, if you're looking for strategies that are above and beyond what's taught all throughout this profession, I'm dropping in the chat the link. It's clickable, patientmastery.com. You could download a free version of the ebook, You Deserve It, which is all headspace at another level of getting through undeserving beliefs. You can watch training videos on patient communication and the paradigm shifts we're talking about, just more and at a deeper level. You could even reach out and speak to a coach inside Patient Mastery, someone who is working with our docs every single day and will literally look under the hood of your practice and show you, hey, the reason you're stuck is most likely you're either not doing these things or you're not doing them as well as you could. You may need to stop doing certain things, like a strategy analysis, and you can go take it and run with it. You can say, hey, how can you help me? Whatever you want, but we give you a full strategy analysis with a pretty expert coach. So if you want help, don't stay on your own island. What got you to where you are is never what gets you to where you want to be. There's always got to be upgrades and strategies, and there's things you got to add and things you got to let go of. And most chiropractors are stuck around that 20,000 a month mark. Like, I know, Michael, you've experienced that. The next level, you're stuck below the 40,000 or you're stuck below the 60,000 a month mark. And with the right shifts, doubling is just in the cards. And it could be simpler and easier. Michael, thank you for coming and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Love the energy, love the growth. If you're watching this live, thank you or recorded or live. Thank you for all the people you're helping day in and day out and just what you devote to the profession. You need us or you need help, we're here for you. You guys rock, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in person or on another call. All right, be great, team. Thank you, Michael.